Hey friends, it's Manny from Griffcast, and oh boy, we got some interesting developments over tonight on the live stream when we were just kind of hanging out. Somebody popped into the chat and wanted to remind us of something that we might have missed, and I think it might be a doozy because if it is true, there's probably good reason that this person, Eliza Blue, didn't decide to go after this dude. So we're going to kind of go bust into that for you guys real quick because it's an interesting line of thinking. But first, we got a shout out to Coffee Brand Coffee, the sponsor of today's video. If you like coffee, teas, cocos, or whatever, make sure you go to coffeebrandcoffee.com and buy it. Use promo code GriffCast so that we can make some money off of it because that's what this stuff is all about. Am I right or am I right? I'm right. I mean, Eliza Blue's in the news again because privacy complaints have been filed on multiple channels all over the place. There's a huge list of individuals that have been getting them, so it seems like a reputation management firm or something like that is trying to come after the situation, and that kind of seems like it would suck, but that might actually be pretty advantageous to us because it's just going to draw more ire onto the situation. And something got me thinking off of my boy Grifty's thread right here talking about Eliza Blue and her seemingly interacting with Christopher Young Finch, who seemed to be a guy that lived in Naperville, Illinois, who was underage with Asperger's, that seemed to hang out a lot at NBA styled events. And he even talked about having a magical night with Mrs. Eliza Slipe one time, and it was a little bit weird because it was also a time when he was 17 years old and she was like 32 years old or something like that. And we did actually get evidence that the dude was, underage at the time or whatever. So some folks might have questioned that particular situation if they wanted to, but we've seen that, I guess, Eliza has allied herself with people that have problems with underage people like Felicia Killings, who herself was charged and convicted with felonies for having her way with minors. Yes, that's right. So I started going back over the Eliza Blue Daily Beast articles because it does actually mention the word athlete a couple of times. It's an unnamed athlete that was one of her traffickers, where she said that she was still terrified that they would give her the old murder ski if she ever came forward and said anything about it. And now that the story is really, really big, I think that we all kind of missed a small little piece of it. Like, after leaving the rock circuit, Blue lived with a friend in Chicago from roughly 2009 to 2011. That's around the period when Blue claims that she came to be sex trafficked again by an unnamed athlete in a violence-plagued neighborhood. Athlete. Unnamed athlete. Blue later suggested that sex workers with the pimp might qualify as trafficking victims, though Wenzel said that she didn't meet any pimp or traffickers when she was socialized with Blue, be it an unnamed high-profile athlete or otherwise. And that got me thinking, is there any other time that somebody's ever mentioned a high-profile athlete and some genius in the live chat actually came forward and pointed us back to one of the first links that we put out, which was the crazy interview with Eliza Slipe, when some internet guy, I guess on Tumblr, decided to actually talk to her or whatever. We actually put in this, but if you do that, there's actually one person that she seems to have mentioned before, and it's pretty crazy. It says, "What's the craziest rumor you've ever heard about yourself?" And it says, "The craziest of all time was that I was the woman pressing charges on Derrick Rose, the basketball player, for grape." That's a very serious subject in general, not the type of thing you want to be involved with or in. I'm sure there's a million out there. What? I mean, that kind of seems like a pretty big piece of information and nugget, and to the guys over there at the Daily Beast to kind of avoid it like the plague, because they kept mentioning high-profile athlete, unnamed high-profile athlete, and I mean, the only one that she's ever mentioned is Derrick Rose, who, if we actually go forward, we can see that around that time he did actually have it, but he was a basketball player in Chicago who came up in quote unquote a really rough neighborhood, and he was in college during the time that Eliza Blue had her rock phase, right? Like he was in the NCAA for the entire 2007 to 2008 season, and then got himself onto the Bulls before he got injured, and so on and so forth. But I mean, he's a really tall guy, and I guess he would be considered a high profile athlete, considering that he was the youngest player to win the most valuable player award in 2011 at the age of 22, and he got rookie of the year in 2009. So I feel like that might fit the bill a little bit if we were just having to point a finger out at anybody. And there has been controversy with this individual around, I guess, his grades back in 2009, which is also the same year that he got that Player of the Year award. So I think, considering he was a Chicago Bulls athlete from 2008 to 2016, it would be a lot easier to ask for some information from some people, because it just so happens that he's been recently in the news, right? I think that I actually saw here on ESPN that he just got traded back to the Bulls and is going to be playing some seasons and stuff. And he got welcomed back with some pretty high fanfare, because not that long ago, I believe he was actually subject to a civil trial for a grape that he allegedly committed, but he ultimately beat that charge, it seems. He was acquitted of all charges, but considering the fact that Eliza directly names it and had people accusing her of being the person that named this, it was basically his final season with the Chicago Bulls in 2016, which many people think led to his ultimate removal from the roster and trade to another team. Basically, the story came out in 2015 that Derrick Rose was accused of drugging and gang raping his girlfriend. And the plaintiffs claimed that she had dated the point guard from 2011 to 2013. However, Rose and his friends did some bad things to her in August of 2013, which seems a little bit strange overall, but he ultimately got out of the verdict. But this seems to be the event that Eliza Rose is actually discussing, and there is a lot of, I guess, information that was posted out there from TMZ about the $21.5 million lawsuit that I guess she implicated herself in some way, even though she was claiming that it's a rumor. Why even name Derrick Rose in the first place? And people would only accuse you of that if you had actually met him in the first place, right? Right? Am I right? All right. Also pretty interesting to consider is that around the same time, another person that's investigating the story, if you just look in YouTube, Faran Chicago Bulls, you'll see that Faran Balanced, the one that's doing the documentary on Eliza Blue, is actually also was previously a Chicago Bulls cheerleader, and seemingly around the same time that Derrick Rose was. So kind of interesting, you know. Here's the link to Faran Balance members only video that she had to put members only, because literally there's copy strikes going out on everybody for this stuff. But at the same time, here's like a video of her actually as a Chicago Bulls cheerleader. I believe that that's the person, that's her right there, that they're trying to frame very poorly with that really, really old camera. That's just what the cameras looked like back in the day. Young people. And yeah, we used to really love it when girls got together and did dances on a basketball court. Actually, we still love it. They just don't let us watch it anymore. Interestingly enough, that's not even the worst thing that Eliza Blue has done. I mean, there was another video that was posted by Pash Motatos that apparently depicts Eliza Blue on My Fellow Americans, episode 123. And it doesn't have a lot of views. It's got a lot of hours ago, but I'm just going to play this out real quick. Yeah, they're going to take it all the way to North Korea, huh? I don't think they're going to take it to North Korea at all. At all. but it does seem like there might be something at least a little bit strange going on with that particular situation, because it doesn't seem like she knows what she's talking about.
Yep.
But here, listen to this.
And you're gonna, if I could have one message to libertarians tonight, or really anyone, there'll be a point where you're going to have to decide whether or not you want to eat your own children to stay alive. It's how bad it gets. It's how bad it gets in North Korea, where every hair on your head is needed to be burnt for heat. Literally no hair on your head goes to waste. Everything is owned by the state. You are married to the state. You'll own nothing. You'll have nothing. And you'll be looking at your loved ones, deciding whether or not you want to eat them to stay alive. They will not stop ever. You don't want to let it get there. Don't fight on Twitter. It's not worth it. You fight the state. You fight those elites that are those seeking power. Libertarians and anyone that seeks liberty, I don't care if you're a Republican, anyone that seeks liberty, even if you're on the left, if you just believe in liberty, fight this, because they're not going to stop. And I'm telling you, you do not want to see the other side.
Look at his face. He just
You'll
seems
be
like,
sitting
what the
in
hell?
Gulag, wishing you had done something and wishing you had spoken up when it mattered.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's cool. And just when you thought that the situation wouldn't get any worse, our boy Grifty again got a whole entire thread of some even newer information that basically kind of talks about Eliza Blue doing this kind of escort work, meeting up with people for money and sort of things all the way up into 2019, complete with text messages that have timestamps and dates and rather spicy pictures of your girl Eliza. And honestly, I just think that all of it is a very, 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 very interesting collection of individual pieces of information to all put together. Because I guess if we know that she's one of these ladies of the night and coming forward with these fools and hanging out with them or whatever, high profile athletes, the only one that she's ever named is Derrick Rose. And she even self-implicated herself in an interview about that dude being the girl that charged him. I mean, obviously, I don't think that she actually was, but just kind of strange when you really think about it. Oh, yeah, maybe that's the reasoning why she never came out and said anything about it, because he'd sue her into oblivion. But could this possibly actually be the person? I don't know. Tell me in the comment section below. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this with your friends. And then obviously make sure you go check out the Griffcast link tree. And the link for it's going to be in the description below. But you can find all of our links for all of our merch and everything else if you want to. Either way, much love to you. And hopefully you guys have a good day. Adios now.